Okay, right behind me is the Place de la Concorde, which is the exact site where Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette were guillotined along with like 1,900 other revolutionaries. But I want to talk about why the guillotine is a democratic killing machine. So prior to the guillotine being invented, if there was going to be an execution in France, it was going to happen via sword or via axe, depending on your social status in society. And you can't lop off a head with a sword or an axe in one blow. So that's like a pretty terrible way to die. And when the guillotine comes along, you know it's going to be fast and you know it's going to be efficient, and everyone's going to die in the same manner, right? It's not going to be one person getting a sword because they're higher in society, one person getting an axe because they're lower in society. And that's what makes it this democratic killing machine. Now, the biggest opponent of the guillotine to start the French Revolution was Maximilien Robespierre. Robespierre essentially organizes the Reign of Terror, which is that giant wave of guillotining and getting rid of anyone who stood for or believed in the ancien regime, the old regime. And he himself eventually succumbs to the guillotine, as do most of these prominent revolutionaries in the French Revolution. So like we're talking Robespierre, we're talking Danton, Marat was assassinated by Charlotte Corday. Sadly, Olympe de Gouges, who was the writer of the Declaration of the Rights of Woman and Citizen in response to the Dormec, the Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen, was also assassinated by a guillotine. So we see the revolution turn in on itself as the Reign of Terror progresses, which brings up this great question, right? To what extent was the French Revolution actually successful? Because it starts out in its moderate phase with the king signing a constitution, creating a constitutional monarchy in France. But then it very rapidly develops into chaos, right? If the king is right, then the revolution is wrong. And the revolution ends. If we're talking about like the Reign of Terror ends, Robespierre is assassinated, Napoleon throws a coup d'etat, and then Napoleon rules as a consul and then as a first emperor and establishes the French Empire. You go from like a monarchy to a constitutional monarchy to like a republic and then to an empire. And then after the Napoleonic Wars, they just restore the monarchy. Oh, France.